What's up, gentle listeners, and thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Above the Nest with Raichele. The Philadelphia Eagles are on a short week. They just defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday, and now we are turning around to prepare to play the Houston Texans on Thursday night. And so I figured what better way to prepare for this game and preview this game than bringing on one of my friends. He is the Houston Texans reporter for ESPN. His name is DJ Bien-Aime. So what's up, DJ? How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I had to see if he was going to say my last name correctly since we gave you a practice run earlier.
Yes.
But I'm doing good, though. I'm chilling. I'm just getting ready for this game on Thursday. It'll be, hopefully, it can be interesting. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, tell me where you're at. Like, where's your mind when it comes to this 1-5-1 Houston Texans team?
I mean, they're not as bad what their record says they are. I think their record is what it is. They're just missing a couple of pieces, but like where they're missing pieces are kind of gaping for is debilitating for both sides of the unit. Like defensively, they need another edge rusher. Could have one of the better edge rushers out. Bernardi's out with a calf injury. Then also they just need another guy that can rush the passer, and then they need linebackers that fit the scheme in the sense of being able to get downhill and consistently execute your run fits, and be able to shed blocks and obviously get to running backs, yada yada. And then on offense, Davis Mills hasn't been bad this year. It's just that he can't really elevate an offense. And right now, what they need is some elevating, and they can use another weapon. But the thing is, like, you can't really ask them to elevate when Nico Collins is not hurt, and already got Brandon Cooks. I mean, Phil Dorsett is a smooth player, but like there's just not much to work with in that aspect. And then also you have, the O-line is good, running game good, but it's hard to run the ball. Like last week was a perfect example. They tried to run the ball and they couldn't, because, the Tennessee Titans were just dead set on taking that away and was all right, beat us through the air. And they just couldn't, and they really just dominated up front. So team isn't as bad as the record would say they are. They have a lot of young pieces, but this game is probably like the worst case scenario because the Eagles can legitimately gash you through the ground and air you out. They kind of struggle with that a little bit against the Raiders, but then you also see in the fourth quarter, but you also see the Raiders aren't that good either. So I feel like this is a really bad matchup for them because they can't stop the run at all. They're the worst rush defense in the NFL. And, last week when they played the Titans, okay, cool. Like, Malik Willis is starting. We can load up the box. And they couldn't stop them from running the ball, but they still had them to 17 points. Because, like, basically if they got the third and long, they were good. The Eagles, if they get, like, third and long or third and manageable, they can still air the ball out because they have, Jalen Hurts with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith and Goddard, you feel me? So that's what things can get a little tricky. This is probably like this is obviously the best team they played all year. Obviously probably playing the second best quarterback they played all year based on how they're playing this year. They played Herbert. Herbert torched them, and then obviously Hurts. I mean, it could get nasty because they everything they're exceptional at is exactly what the Texans are struggling at substantially.
Mm-hmm. And so you touched on a lot of the weaknesses already. What would you say are this team's strengths?
The pass defense. The pass defense is really good. They've caught more interceptions than touchdowns allowed. I believe it's 5 to 7. Like they've allowed 5 to passing, but they've caught 7 interceptions. I think quarterbacks are pass rating like under 80 when they're throwing against this pass defense. So like Lovey is good at when he knows it's an obvious pass situation, how to call the defense. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll put them in good situations in defending the pass. They're good at running the ball when it's not obvious they're going to run the ball, unless like the Jacksonville Jaguars game was just like it was obvious they're going to run the ball, but they just kind of dominated up front, and when that happens, you can do whatever you want. But they're good at running the ball when it's not like OD obvious. So those are two things that I think they're good at. Like I would say that they're legitimately good is those two aspects. The pass game is it is what it is. It's below average right now. The rush defense is obviously statistically the worst in the NFL.
Yeah.
So then they're good. I think they're good in the special teams game, I guess.
Okay. Are there any key matchups that you're looking forward to seeing?
I would say like I'm really looking forward to see Steven Nelson, Derek Stingley, Desmond King against their receiving core of AJ Brown um, and AJ Brown. But Lovey doesn't ever really like put them on that type of island. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a heavy cover two team. Like they lead the NFL in cover two usage. So they don't really like follow. Like they'll follow. Like I envision that Derek Stingley will follow AJ Brown, but he's not going to guard AJ Brown throughout an entire route. And the majority of times he actually follows because he'll go into cover two. So he'll just cover AJ Brown in that flat area and then pass him off to Jonathan Owens, or if Jalen Petry's behind him, to Jalen Petry. So and then same with Steven Nelson if he's guarding Devonta Smith. So overall though, I don't really that I would say that matchup, but really it's gonna come down to the Eagles O-line featuring center Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
You got Lane Johnson. You got Jordan left tackle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's an elite offensive line against a struggling front seven that really can't stop anybody. Like last Sunday was crazy because they knew all they could do was run the ball and they still couldn't stop it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just crazy to me. Yeah. So that's the matchup that's going to decide the game. That's going to decide whether it's a blowout or if it's competitive, right? Like if they can like hold their own, then cool. Like they might have a shot. The Texans O-line, now I flip it because trenches like on the Texans O-line versus the Eagles D-line. It's loaded with you got obviously Jordan Davis is hurt, but you got Cox, you got Robert Quinn, you got Hassan Reddick. So I want to see how they hold up against that front. This last game, they got dominated by them boys with Dupree and Simmons. Like there are a lot of plays where the interior was just collapsing because they couldn't handle Jeffrey Simmons, but Dupree was able to get around and cause havoc, etc. Because Davis Mills really can't play under pressure. I don't know if he doesn't have good pocket presence, but I'll say like he has like below average pocket presence. And like young quarterbacks, they don't really play well under pressure because like they're young and they're still learning how to operate in that space. So obviously Davis Mills is only like in his. I don't even think he's in his 17th start yet. I believe. I think he started 10. Oh, he's probably a little bit over 17, but it's in that range. So he hasn't even started a quote unquote full NFL season. So he's still learning how to maneuver a muddy pocket. So they have to keep him upright, which they have done throughout the majority of the year. This was the first game where it was like, wow, you guys are getting him killed. Like he looked like a pinata on Sunday.
It was bad, yeah. But I guess at this point of the season, with this record, what is the Texans' focus? Like, what do they look at to bring positivity, or to what's their success going to look like moving forward?
So yeah, they want to run the ball, right? They want to take pressure off of Davis, and they want to be able to get Dameon Pierce going, who is right now 12th in the league in rushing. He was 6th going into Sunday, but when you have 35 yards, it's hard for you to stay in the top 10 because everybody else, like, just passed him. But yeah, they want to get him going because they get him going. They feel like that gives them their best shot at being a balanced offense. They don't want to be pass happy and they don't want to be overly run dominant, but they'll run the ball like down your throat if they can. They just don't want to get pass happy. So that's really their only keys. Like not the only keys, but that's one of their major keys on offense. Can we run the ball and then play off of that? So if you run the ball with success and you have the whole entire playbook open to you, some teams they can still make it work without being able to run the ball, but they're not one of those teams. So it offensively starts there.
Okay, what's your score prediction for this game?
Man, it can get ugly, man. I ain't gonna lie. Short week. I think it's still be competitive though because for whatever reason, home teams on Thursday Night Football tend to like they win. Obviously, I don't think the Texans will win, but I think they'll keep it competitive and then get away from them in the fourth. Because the Eagles, outside of last week, they don't really play that well in the second half. Like the offense kind of stalls out.
Yeah.
So the question is, once once the Texans get blitzed and they make their adjustments, I could see a scenario they're down 14-0 early in the game. Like when they make their adjustments, how do they get back into the game, make it competitive, make it 14-10, 21-10 and a half, and then continue to call back and you make it a game in the fourth. But I think it'll probably be like 28-17.
Okay.
I'll probably go with that score.
I like it. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for taking the time to chat with me. I really appreciate it. To all of the gentle listeners out there, they can find DJ you on Twitter at DJ BIENAIME in case they don't know how to spell it. But yeah,
Sure.
so thank you for your time. Do you want to plug anything before you leave here?
Nah, I ain't got nothing to plug right now. Nothing
Okay.
to plug. Nothing to
Well,
plug.
make sure y'all follow him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and whenever we get back up on Unseen,
Yes.
so you gonna take an L.
Whatever. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. You're the best.
Thank you.